Hello everyone and welcome back. We are the Caring Conversations here at the Care Show. I have Sue Hill here from the Foundation of Nursing Studies, and we're going to speak a little bit about a course that's really close to my heart, something that I've taken a place on that course. Really interesting and really useful for nurses. So I just wanted to bring Sue on and we'll have a little conversation about RBCS, which is Resilience-Based Clinical Supervision. Tell us a little bit about it and how did it get started?
Thanks, Lucy. Yes, so Resilience-Based Clinical Supervision, it's a programme that has been commissioned by Deborah Sturdy, Chief Nurse for Social Care, and we've been commissioned to run over 1,000 places for nurses who work in social care, adult social care, registered nurses, and any of them can come on it. We run cohorts of 8 people online, and it's 5 sessions, 3 hours, 2 hours, online, interactive, participative course. You don't just sit there and get talked
No,
at.
I remember.
You really get talked with and make sure that you really understand what the programme's all about.
Completely. And I remember from when I did the course, it was really interactive and we really got to know each other as a group because we were sharing such useful information. It was really good to network and get to learn about other people's experiences as well. So give me a bit more information about how, the idea behind it and the process in, RBCS.
Okay. So Resilience-Based Clinical Supervision comes under the umbrella of restorative supervision.
Right.
And it's a particular process of the way to do it. So the process starts with doing a safe space agreement. So we want to make sure that everybody who undertakes the supervision feels comfortable talking. Right. So we together create a safe space agreement, and this means it's about what's important to you. So you don't have people sitting in the back on their phones playing Tetris or whatever the latest game is. You make sure that people actually understand why they're in the room and what they want. Anything they say is confidential, so they make up the rules they want to abide by. So really an agreement between the people that actually means they feel safe to talk, because what we want to do is get people talking. The next stage in the process, we do a grounding. So yes. All kinds of different groundings.
That was my best. I love doing that part. It's so good.
So the idea of the grounding is how many people come into anything that they do and they've been really busy. They've got a million things in their head. Yeah. And actually what we want them to do is just stop and breathe and spend 2 or 3 minutes just thinking about what they're doing, how they're sitting, how they're thinking. Breathe nice and deeply and just think about, I'm here. I have the time to do this session.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm part of it. I'm in the room.
That was one of the things I really enjoyed when I did the course, because there were so many different ideas of grounding, because some things work for some people and some things don't work for others. And it was really useful to reflect on which things had a bigger impact, and even down to listening to what sounds you could hear and what smells you can smell and all of that kind of mindfulness. I really enjoyed learning about those different things.
I had a group yesterday and I was teaching them about the grounding, and one of the things I did was play a piece of music, Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, I love that piece of music.
I love Queen personally.
And I said to the group, when you've had enough of it, because it lasts 8 minutes, put your hand up. And after less than 2 minutes, somebody put their hand up. They didn't like it. So we stopped and did something different.
Oh, wow.
And it's really interesting to see what people actually enjoy and what they don't. So from the grounding, you go into a check-in. Because I can say to you, Lucy, how are you today? And what will you say?
Probably, I'm fine, just like everyone normally says, yeah?
Well, I'm okay, yeah, I'm good, thanks. What we're trying to do is actually really find out how you actually feel.
Right, yeah.
What you're actually thinking. And because we've actually set in place a safe space to do this, people are much more likely to tell you. And we use different props for it, so we can use different pictures. One of the ones we used is pictures of sheep, and there's one sheep that has a bucket on its head. And somebody always chooses that. Like, yeah, bucket on my head, I've had enough today. Let's just do something else. So that's the third part in the process. And so from what people are saying in the check-in, we go into the reflective discussion. Now, sometimes people will want to have a reflective discussion about something very specific.
Yeah.
Sometimes you take the themes out of the check-in and actually talk about it. The idea is that we're not giving advice. It's about we're listening, we're asking curious questions, and we're doing something that nurses find really hard,
Yeah.
and we're not fixing the problem. We're trying to get people to find their own solutions, or just talking about something that shows that, well, that's funny, I experienced that. I had my group yesterday, we had a discussion about a family in a care home, and the family wanted to know everything about their father's condition and
Right.
treatment. And they thought they knew best some of the time, and they were going against the advice of health professionals, and they were questioning the staff in the care home. There isn't a solution to that,
No.
but actually by talking about it, people realised a lot of us had that problem. So it was a really good discussion that was had.
I find it really interesting as well that nurses tend to think about other people a lot, don't they? So they don't tend to self-reflect on, hold on, how am I really feeling today?
Yes.
And that was something I really took from that course, that and also each other, I think, because we're thinking about the patients or we're thinking about the residents, and we might be thinking about our team member if they might be behaving a bit different to usual, or if it's really busy, you're not really thinking about them, or you're not thinking about yourself. So having that space to stop and think about your colleague and you, I thought that was really useful too.
And a lot of the work we do, the theoretical underpinning is about the emotional regulatory systems.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a threat system, the drive system, and the affiliative system.
Yes.
And after a while, you start to hear the words people use, and you get to know, well, they're really showing signs that they're in overdrive. And that, like, oh, I'm so busy, I've got so much to do, no, I can't do this because I've got to do this. All of that, even the way they speak, you know that
Yes.
they're in their overdrive. And if you can start to recognise that in your colleagues, you can start to support them better.
Yeah.
But also you get to hear about the critical voice, and when people's critical voice, which is often shown that they're in the threat system as well, is really loud, and again you can tell when people are talking to you. And if you can understand how your colleagues are feeling and the words that you're using, you can start to do something about it. So
That's a really good point, and actually it made me a lot more aware. I had a conversation with my team when I came back, and we did some reflection on how we all feel and answering honestly and, you know, being in the right place. And we've found as well that we're a closer team because of the way that we communicate, and we don't just say, you know, oh, I'm fine. We actually talk about what's going on and go into a little bit more detail and try and unpick things. And we also identify that anxiety sometimes in each other. And I find I'm more communicative as well. So when I'm speaking to someone, I will say, I recognise today I feel like this because, whereas beforehand I probably wouldn't have said those things. And I recognise it's easier if I say that, and then they know how to interact with me, whether that's just avoid me or whether it's, you know, get me a drink or something to try and calm me down, whatever it is. I feel like we work together a lot better because we're all communicating more. And I know we were talking earlier about increasing communication and the outcomes. That's something we really want to work together on, kind of proving that this has got a great impact. So I wanted to know what are your next steps with, you know, the organisation and how we're going to measure that.
Okay, so as I said, we were commissioned to do 1,000 places, and we've already got probably 500 places who are
Wow.
up, running, done. So it's going quickly. The time's going so fast. So we are starting to write an implementation guide, because quite often people come on the course and they're full of enthusiasm. They get back to their place of work and they're like, what do I do? So we're starting the implementation guide, which is, we've interviewed quite a few people who've done the programme.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned communication, because so many people say the communication in the home is better because of doing this, and that's that feeling it's okay to talk about it.
Yes.
We're also doing an evaluation, and we're working with the University of Salford, and that started this week, and hopes to be ready by kind of May time, about the effect that we've had and how good and how well we do evaluate the programme.
Great.
So that's really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to hearing about it as well. So we were having a conversation about us using it and implementing it in some of the services that we're in, and obviously our team communication is better, but we also want to look at how that's impacting on some of the services that we work with, and it would be great if we can get some of those nurses on the course. So we'll definitely go back and start that. But we have actually got some care homes that have gone from inadequate to requires improvement to good since we've been working with them. So this added improvement in communication and therefore patient outcomes or resident outcomes, is a massive impact, and it would be really great to be able to demonstrate the impact that the RBCS system can have.
And the lovely thing about the programme and the things that people learn on the programme, it doesn't mean that you have to just do it in a supervision session. You can use the techniques that you learn in everyday work. So have a team meeting. So one of the things we do is golden moments. So tell me about what's a golden moment of what's happened this week. And it's something positive that's happened.
I remember that, yeah.
And actually by doing that with your team, you start to learn about them, learn more about them, learn about their family, and just things that make them happy. And it's really interesting how some people find that really hard, because it's like, well, why do you want to know? But actually, if you make it something part of a regular meeting, it's okay.
Yeah.
Or you do a grounding to start a team meeting. Let's start in a good place. Let's check in and see how you're feeling. So it doesn't always have to be a full-blown supervision session. It really can be little bits that you take out and improve.
I found that odd when we first started as well, because it's when you're with a new group of people, especially at the beginning of the sessions, it is a bit kind of because it's different and it's something you're not really used to doing. And then as the course progressed, it felt normal, and then I found myself reflecting in the shower and sort of thinking through the day, or what can I hear, how does this feel, where's the water bouncing off me, and all sorts of it weaves into different parts of your life, not just in your work. It might be when you're doing something that makes you a bit anxious, like driving on in an area you don't know and you feel a little bit anxious, or there's certain other situations that you might be in where you need to just take a reflection, sit back, ground, and then obviously take part in whatever it is you're doing.
And it's like teaching me, like with the grounding, teaching people, it's like, okay, you've had a really difficult moment with a resident. Just take a moment, look out the window, look at the garden, a tree, look at the sky, and breathe, and that can make such a difference. And we end all of our sessions in the supervision with an ending and just something really positive. Let's leave here with a positive message to each other, or something to think about being compassionate to yourself for the next week. Just something that's positive, and we're promoting compassion to ourselves and to others at all times.
The other thing I really liked about the supervision was the whole point on the fact that it isn't documented, that it's not something that's seen as a kind of dictatorial, we're going to do a clinical supervision and this is being done to you. This is more of a, let's sit down, let's just have a discussion, and it's not going to be logged or written. It's, just between us to kind of assess things. Where did that idea come from, that it was a completely different slant? Because the typical usual clinical supervision is so different, and I think it's hard to change people's perception of what supervision is because of that.
And I think it's about the fact that if we document everything, people won't tell you. They won't tell you how they really feel, and we're trying to get people to really link with their emotions and say how they feel. And it's about getting people to talk about what's happening. So talk about their experiences, learn from others, realise that they're not the only ones who are having that experience. So I think we need, the only documentation I think we need is to say, Mary Jane attended a session on the 1st of October, tick.
Yeah.
And CQC, look, that's what they've done. And look at the communication that's better because people trust us.
Exactly. And that was one of the things I raised in one of the meetings that we had, that CQC just need to know that supervision is happening. They don't need to read the content of the supervision to believe it. Yes. So for us to have those touch points with the staff and know that that's happening, that's great. Yeah. So if somebody listening to this they were a nurse and they wanted to take part in this course, and they wanted to get involved, what would you suggest for them to do to get in touch?
Okay, the easiest thing is to look at our website. It's the Foundation of Nursing Studies. So www.fons.co or .org, sorry.
.org.uk, yes.
Okay.
Well, and what we can do is we can share that. When this goes out, we can share that post as well.
And
and you have a QR code.
QR code.
we'll be
So-
able to share all of that information. We can add this to the YouTube link, I'm sure,
That'd be
and we'll be
amazing.
able to share that. And we will also do some LinkedIn posts that will share that information
Fantastic.
too.
So as long as people are a registered nurse working in adult social care, this gives them 13 hours of CPD, and at the moment it's completely free because it's been commissioned by Deborah Sturdy. So an amazing
It's amazing
opportunity.
it's completely free, and
Yeah.
and I gain so much from it. And I am a bit of an addict when it comes to learning things. I soak things up and I want to get involved, and I've really got a huge amount from doing that. So I wish I'd done it earlier, actually, because thinking back at some of the stresses that I've had to deal with, if I had that tool in my toolkit if I had the tools in my toolkit, it would have been a lot easier for me back then. So it was definitely useful.
And the idea is that it's a champion and cascade program. So if you've done it, you can actually teach it to others, and you can go and do supervision with others. But we don't put a limit on numbers of people who can come on it from an organisation. If you want to come on it, come and do it. And I'm the project manager, and I'll be delighted to see you on our program.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming along, Sue. It's been so good to meet you finally face to face, because I know we've interacted a lot online and via email, but it's great to see you. And if anyone's interested, get in touch. They can get in touch with Cornerstone or myself or Sue directly, and I'll tag you as well in the post. So,
Thank you so much.
hopefully we can get more nurses involved, and it'd be really good. So I know we've got some more conversations coming up soon, so stick around, and we'll talk later.
Thank you very much.